Hello dear students, welcome back to another video lecture of mine where we are about to discuss few of the topics related to the chapter given, that is light, reflection and reflection, that you can see here. So things to read inside. We have covered a previous video on the topic like introduction, reflection of light, definition and the types of reflection, reflection of light by a plane surface, laws of reflection, and also we have covered the characteristics of an image formed by a plane mirror. So if you haven't checked the video till yet, the video is in I button. Please check it. And in this class, we are about to cover more three topics, that is spherical mirrors, the concave or convex, the general terms related to the spherical mirrors, and the sign convention. How do we use the sign convention in spherical mirrors? That will be talked. So let's get started directly to our class today. So in this class, as I have already mentioned, I am going to talk about spherical mirrors. In previous video, we have talked about plane mirror, and apart from plane mirror, there are certain other mirrors that we can see or you can get in our market, that is easily available, or we use such kind of mirrors for other kinds of activities. So what kind of activities are involved depending on spherical mirrors, that we will be knowing in our next video. So firstly, let us know, apart from the plane mirror, that in the previous video we have talked, like if a glass slab is taken and any one side of the glass slab is coated with the silver, means it is polished very nicely with the silver, then the other face of the plane mirror becomes reflecting surface, and that we use as a mirror. And the mirror quality, the reflection amount of light depends on the coating of the mirror. How good you are coating the other side of the mirror, that gives you more magnificent images or more perfect images that you are looking for. So sometimes you might have noticed in your home that the mirror you are using, it looks quite dull. If you are checking yourself in front of the mirror, if you are standing and you are checking yourself, you will be thinking that why I am not looking as exact. I do look to the mirrors that are kept in some salon or in some beauty parlors or in some jewelry shop, because the reflection coefficient is not the same for such mirrors. Though we are not going to talk about the reflection coefficient, what is the reflection coefficient here in this video, but if for your notice, for your kind information, let me tell you that if you are covering, suppose this is a glass slab, and this side you are going to cover, suppose this side you are going to cover with the silver coating. So very nicely, if you do silver coating in this side, then definitely this surface becomes the reflecting plane for you, and by this side only you see yourself in the mirror. Okay, so how much very nicely you polish the other side with silver coating, as like that only, as much good quality mirrors that will be generated, and generally the cost will increase for such kind of mirrors. So here, apart from those plane mirrors, today's class will cover the spherical mirrors. Fine, the discussion of spherical mirror we are going to do. So how the spherical mirrors are made and which type of mirrors are said as spherical mirrors, let us know firstly. So if I take a hollow mirror or hollow glass jar, or what I can say is a hollow sphere, if I take a hollow glass sphere, suppose such kind of glass sphere if I take, okay, so if I take such kind of glass sphere, now in this glass sphere, if I am going to just cut a part of it, means this much part I have cut, and the another part we are going to cut here is this, suppose. So A to B becomes one of the cut part, and C to D becomes the other cut part that we are having. So how the mirror is actually formed? The spherical ball or the spherical glass ball has a center in the middle that we name it as O, and definitely if we separate out all these faces, like suppose if you are having such kind of football and if you are cutting in this manner, if I am cutting here, I have shown by the help of some two dot A and B or C and D. But usually how do we cut the spherical mirrors? Suppose there is a football, and you might have noticed on the football there are certain regions which look something like hexagon and pentagon. Sometimes you have noticed, I guess. So such kind of portions, if we take out any one of the single piece, if you can take out, how much portion you will get? And that will be carved, I guess, little a bit carved inside. or bulging outward, that you will get. And a similar manner, instead of being this pentagonal structure or hexagonal structure, if we just take some of the portion from that glass jar, spherical glass ball, and that we cut into a circular manner, then such kind of mirror we are about to get is spherical mirrors. Now, spherical mirrors, as per the definition, what we can say? We can say spherical mirrors are those mirrors which are just a part of the entire sphere. Means if I think in this way, suppose I don't have this much of the portion. Okay. Or I have cut. Suppose I have cut the entire sphere, and lastly I have got this plane, which is A and B. This AB plane I have got finally. Okay. This AB plane I have got finally out of the spherical ball, glass ball. So if I am having such kind of piece, and now what I will do? I will just color any of the side. Either I color this inside, by this way, then we are getting this side as the reflecting plane. And if we do this thing, that we color outside part, then the inside part will give us the reflecting plane. So two kinds of spherical mirrors can be prepared. One that is colored from outside, means this surface, this outward surface, can you see this outward surface? Actually it is bulged outward. What do we say? It is bulged outward. What do we say? We say bulged outward. Why? Because it is bulging outwards, it is just facing outwards, it is about to come out in this manner. Okay, that's why we say the bulging surface. That bulging surface, if we coat with silver, then the inside one which is not bulged, that can be used as a reflecting mirror, a reflecting plane. And that kind of mirror we are about to say it as concave mirror. And in another sense, if you take this CD part, suppose this is the CD part, and after cutting we got this CD part as this. Suppose this is the CD part. Okay, and if this is being the CD part, and if we color by inside, then what will happen? If we color by inside, then definitely we are about to get the reflecting plane that is outside of the mirror, that is outside of this mirror. So definitely when the reflecting plane is outside and internally it is coated, that kind of mirror we are about to say it as convex mirror. Such kind of mirror we are about to say it as convex mirror. So there is a basic difference between convex mirror and concave mirror. So what is this? Convex mirror is bulged outward, means the surface which is bulging outward, that gives you the reflecting plane. Okay, but for convex mirror the reflecting plane is bulged inward. Okay, and that is the concave mirror. So concave mirror and convex mirror being two types of spherical mirrors, and what they are actually, they are treated as a part of entire spherical glass ball. Fine. So from a big spherical glass ball, if we want, we can prepare lots of spherical mirrors as per our demand. We can make concave mirrors also, we can make convex mirror also. Okay, from the same ball. So it depends on how do we cut the surface, how much bigger we cut the surface, and how do we coat it. Either internally we coat it or externally we coat it. Okay, so this is our spherical mirror. So two types of spherical mirror that we have seen, that is concave mirror and another is convex mirror. So next of that, we are about to tell you that what is the real definition of concave mirror. Again I am just repeating it, that what is the definition of concave mirror then? The concave mirror are said as those mirrors, said to those mirrors which are having reflecting surfaces internally. Reflecting surfaces internally means the reflecting surface is bulged inward, while the bulged outward surface is coated with silver, and that mirror is just a part of the entire spherical glass ball. Okay, so such kind of mirror is concave mirror. And convex mirror, any kind of part of a entire spherical glass ball whose external surface or whose bulged outward surface is our reflecting plane, while the other internally bulged side is coated with silver, can be said as convex mirror. So this was the definition of convex mirror and concave mirror as per our demand. Now if we are having such kind of mirrors, then definitely we must introduce some of the general terms that really not going to work out for that we have not defined previously for plane mirror. But here we are going to define such kind of general terms. So now we are going to discuss about some of the general terms related to the above spherical mirrors. Spherical mirrors. So now first term that we are going to cover is our center of curvature. Center of curvature. What is the center of curvature? Let's talk about the center of curvature firstly. What is the center of curvature? Let us take this as a mirror. Suppose if we take concave mirror, so this is being our concave mirror, suppose. Wait a minute. And this is being our convex mirror. Okay. So where our reflecting surfaces are directed in this sense. This is our reflecting surface, and here this is our reflecting surface. So you know, already got it. I guess you have got it that what kind of mirrors that we have taken here. So this is basically becomes our convex mirror, and this is our concave mirror. Now you see the thing that if I say that such mirror, this picture number 1 mirror in picture number 1 is a concave mirror. How can I say that the picture number 1 is a concave mirror? How can I say the picture number 1 is a concave mirror? Because the outward surface, means the bulged outward surface, is colored. That means the reflecting plane is inside. From our left hand side, if we see, the reflecting surface can be seen. Okay. So such kind of mirror, it is also a part, no? So it is also a part of what? It is a part of the entire spherical ball. So if I get that this is a part of this spherical ball, can I say in this manner? Suppose there was a spherical ball. Suppose there was a spherical ball whose total is not taken. Only a single part is taken, and that is made into concave mirror. Then what we can say that if the mirror would exist, if the total glass surface or if the total glass plane exists or glass sphere exists, then it must have a point which we can call it as the center of the entire spherical glass ball, and that center let it say as O, and that center is actually our center of curvature. That is going to be said as the center of curvature. So in our case, basically let us say it as by C, because C relates to center of curvature. It looks nice. Okay, for convex mirror, suppose if we see, then convex mirror is also a part of spherical mirror, no? Spherical glass ball, and whose center is genuine to have. Then such kind of mirror whose center of curvature gets inside the spherical ball, which we cannot experience in real life, is said as convex mirror. Such kind of mirrors are said as convex mirror. So for convex mirror, what happens? For convex mirror, the center of curvature is in the back end of the mirror. But for concave mirror, the center of curvature is just in front of the mirror. That means in air it exists, not virtually it will be present. So we will be talking about that again. So what is center of curvature? Center of curvature states us that the center of that imagined spherical ball whose part can be your taken mirror, the mirror you have taken. Okay. So such center can be said as the center of curvature for that particular mirror that you have taken. Okay. So either it is concave or it is convex, doesn't matter, they all are the part of that spherical ball. So that spherical ball should have one center, and that center is said as the center of curvature. Okay. So in our next point of view, we are going to define that what is radius of curvature. We are going to define what is radius of curvature. radius of curvature. So you see whether such kind of mirror is a concave or whether such kind of mirror is a convex, means whether the spherical mirror is convex, doesn't matter to us. This is concave and this becomes convex for us. Okay, this becomes convex for us. So now think logically that if it would have some center, that you already know that it should have a center here, then center to the point on its surface, means on its circumference. Suppose this is the spherical glass jar whose part is taken. This is a spherical glass jar whose part is taken. Okay, so its part can be, so here the center must exist. The center must exist where? Suppose this is the center. Then the center to the distance on its circumference will be said it as the radius of curvature, and that we define as r. So similarly, in case of convex mirror also, that second mirror that we are going to see, this is also a part of a spherical mirror, spherical ball whose center is here, and center to the circumference, center to the distance of the center to its circumference can be said as the radius of curvature. So the radius of curvature we can define the distance between the center of curvature and the plane of the mirror, that the plane of the mirror, any point taken in the mirror, and if we connect the point with the center of curvature, then that distance will be counted as the radius of curvature for us. So now the next point is our linear aperture. So linear aperture, what does it call as? Suppose we have a plane spherical mirror that looks something like this if it is a concave mirror, or like this if it is a convex mirror. Respectively, the surface which are coated are this and this for both the respective mirrors. Now, if I denote that this mirror is having a plane, say if this mirror is having a plane, suppose A to B, then the entire aperture will be said as linear aperture, or it can be said as the distance between two extremum points. The linear aperture can be said as the distance, the aperture would be called as AB. Simply if we say that what is aperture, what is aperture, aperture will be AB plane, A to B, the arc that is formed, that will be aperture. But if we say that what is linear aperture, then the linear aperture is the distance between two extreme points. The mirror is something like from A to B. So what is the distance from A to B? This is the distance from A to B. So that dotted line which is showing the linear aperture. So the distance between two extreme points of a mirror can be said as the linear aperture. So guess for the second mirror, which is our convex mirror, for such kind of mirror, what will be the linear aperture? If we call the extreme points as C and D, then definitely our linear aperture is going to be C to D, the distance between two extreme points. Our next topic of discussion is, our next point to highlight is pole. What is pole? We are going to see what is pole. Now, suppose there is a mirror. Namely, let us say this is our concave mirror and this is our convex mirror. So in both types of mirrors, we must have the point which is in the middle of the aperture. The entire aperture is what? Entire aperture is our A to B. But there exists a middle point in between this aperture, which we can call it as P, and that P we define it as the pole of that mirror. That means the middle point of the entire aperture of the mirror is said as pole of that mirror. If the pole is of concave mirror, then it will be said as the pole of concave mirror, and if the pole is of that of convex mirror, then definitely that is our pole for that convex mirror. If this C to D is the extreme points, then the midway between this C to D we will find the pole for the convex mirror. And I should not highlight it again and again for what is the color surface and what is our reflecting plane. For this concave mirror, we color it something like this, and this is our concave mirror, and for convex mirror, the color surface is shown something in this way. So where the pole will be found? The pole will be found for such kind of mirror the pole will be found here in the middle. The pole is here. Suppose this is D. So our next topic of discussion is, next topic means next point or the next term to read here is just the principal axis. Now we are going to talk about principal axis. What is a principal axis? We are going to talk about principal axis. In above topic we have already talked about, suppose if this is a mirror, suppose if this is a concave mirror and if this is a convex mirror. If this is a convex mirror, I must include the portion which should be highlighted is the back surface is covered with the color and this surface is covered with the color. That means the first figure, this figure is our concave mirror and this is our convex mirror. So for both the mirrors we shall have our point which is said as center of curvature, that you know, and all these mirrors will have the middle point which we call it as pole. So in this mirror also there will be a point which we call it as pole, and there will be certain center of curvature for such kind of mirror also. So if we join an imaginary line passing through the center of curvature and also through the pole of that mirror, such imaginary line will be called as principal axis. Such imaginary line will be called as principal axis. So what is principal axis? Principal axis is the imaginary line that is passing through center of curvature and the pole of that mirror. Fine. So the next term that we need to see is secondary axis. If this is a principal axis, then we really desire to talk about secondary axis. In most of the book you will not find what is secondary axis because they do not mention about secondary axis always. So here in all those books you will not find about this secondary axis. Very rare book that covers the term that is secondary axis. So let me tell you that if this is the plane of the mirror and if this is the plane of the convex mirror, so this is concave and this is convex. So for such kind of mirror, except for such kind of mirror, which you call it as concave mirror and convex mirror. Now for such kind of mirror, if we say that there is a pole in the middle and we have center of curvature, but we join, except the pole, we join the other points on the mirror. Suppose this point I join with the center of curvature, then an imaginary line passes through in this sense also. Means except pole of that mirror, if we join the center of curvature to any of the other points taken on the reflecting surface of the mirror imaginarily, then such kind of axes that are going to form are secondary axis. So apart from principal axis, all other kind of axes that can be drawn to a mirror can be said as secondary axis. That means we do define it in this sense, like if we connect center of curvature to pole, then that imaginary line we say it as principal axis. But if we do not, means if we take another points, namely say it as A point or take B point or take C point, any of the point you take, E point, whatever the point you are finding, but not the pole. You should not take the pole here. You take the center of curvature and any of the point and you join them imaginarily, then the line passing through that center of curvature and all those other points except the pole of that mirror will deal us the term secondary axis. That will define us the term secondary axis. So these all are going to be our secondary axis in this manner. Hence in the case of convex mirror also this will occur in this sense only. So nothing new in case of convex mirror also. So these kind of terms are general for both of them. Next point to highlight is our normal. What does this normal actually means to us? What does this normal actually mean to us? Suppose if we say draw a normal to a spherical mirror. How can you draw the normal to a spherical mirror? Then you should take one spherical mirror firstly. Okay. Then what can be done? Then choose any of the point on the mirror to which you need to draw the normal. to which you need to draw the normal. Suppose I am choosing this point. Suppose I am choosing this point where I need to draw the normal. I need to draw a normal to this point on the spherical mirror. In this case, this is a concave mirror. This is a concave mirror. So, from the center of curvature, if I join that point, then this imaginary line that I joined to that point can be the normal. That means if I allow a light ray to pass through the center and to pass through this point, then definitely the light ray after hitting to that point, it will come back by the same path. It is going to come back by the same path. So this is really defines us the definition of a normal. So if we allow, in case of a concave mirror, if we allow a light ray to pass through the center of curvature and to hit the mirror in a particular point, then the line joining the center and the point shows the normal, and the quality or the characteristics of the normal is, through the normal, if we send any light rays, then as per the laws of reflection, it should transmit it back by the same path, and that symmetry we are getting here in case of concave mirror. So similarly, in case of convex mirror, if we do see for a convex mirror, then how it will appear? This will appear something like this. Suppose this is going to be the reflecting plane for convex mirror. This is convex mirror, and now for this convex mirror, there will have a certain point which we name it as center of curvature, and if we allow the light rays to fall on the convex mirror in such a sense, if we allow the light rays to fall to the convex mirror in such a sense, like it appears to pass through that point, but really it will not pass, because the light cannot go to the other side of the mirror as it is colored by the back side, So through the other side of the mirror, the light is unable to come out. Hence, the light which is about to pass to the center of the curvature of a convex mirror will reflect back by the same line, and that line which we draw imaginarily, and the line which we draw imaginarily to that point, let it say as A, and we connect the center of curvature C, then that imaginary line can be said as the normal for convex mirror. So this imaginary line will be said as the normal for the convex mirror. So the next point that we are going to see is principal focus. Our next point or the term that we are going to discuss is principal focus. See, all these things are, or simply we say it as a focus of a mirror. Okay. So all these things are very important to discuss, because until and unless we know all the symmetric terms related to the spherical mirror, then we cannot go for discussing all the quality discussions that are remaining to discuss for concave mirror and convex mirror, especially the image formation cases for concave mirror and convex mirror that needs these points to get it clearly. Otherwise, it is very difficult to clear out all these points while discussing the image formation by a concave and convex mirror. So this is our second last term that we are reading here is principal focus. So for the principal focus, we can see a plane that we have taken, and generally from that sense only we are calling it as concave mirror. So we do have the concave mirror whose outward bulged surface is colored, So such concave mirror will have a point in the midway between this center and the pole. Suppose we have center of curvature and the pole. So the distance joining center of curvature and the pole is stated as radius of curvature. And if we do take any point in the midway between center of curvature and the pole, that point we are defining it as principal focus. So what is the symmetry that we are going to see here? That principal focus, that means all the light rays parallelly traveling towards the mirror, all those light rays which are traveling parallelly to the principal axis. Suppose which is the principal axis? This dotted line that I am showing here is the principal axis, because the principal axis is that axis which is passing through the center and the pole of a certain mirror. And what type of axis is this? This is an imaginary axis that we take to deal with the symmetries of the mirror. Fine. Now you see two light rays are traveling parallel to the principal axis and hitting the surface of the concave mirror. Then after hitting, definitely they are going to pass through a certain point. After reflecting, they are going to pass through a certain point. and in this manner they are going to pass through a certain point, and that point we are defining it here as principal focus, or we define it simply the focus of that mirror. So what is the focus? What is the characteristics of the focus? So all the light rays that are parallelly traveling to the principal axis and after hitting the surface of the mirror, that is going to converge to a particular point. That means through the point which you say it as the principal focus. So if I take another parallel ray which is traveling in this sense, let it take by another color. Wait. So if we take by this color, suppose, to let you understand, if I take this green color light which is traveling parallel to the principal axis, then right after traveling parallel to the principal axis, this is going to come out in this way. This is going to come out in this way, okay, and this is also about to come out through the same point, and that same point through what all these parallel lights converge is known as the principal focus for that concave mirror. For that concave mirror, this is the principal focus, or simply we call it as focus. But in case of convex mirror, the definition will be a bit this and that. So let us define the convex mirror firstly. Suppose this is our convex mirror. So what is the reflecting plane? Reflecting plane is here. Now in case of a concave mirror, the center of curvature is in our left hand side. That means it is in the same side in which we are having the reflecting plane. That means the center of curvature is real to us. The center of curvature, the focus and the focus, these 2 points are really existing for a concave mirror. Hence concave mirror are able to form images that can be real. But this convex mirror, you see this convex mirror, here in this mirror you will find the center of curvature which is at the back end of the mirror. So can you enter into the mirror? No. If we imagine, then definitely by the back side we can highlight the center of curvature. But for an upcoming light rays which are coming and hitting the surface of a convex mirror, can it pass through the point which is we name it as center of curvature? No, definitely not. The light cannot pass through that point because the coating made in that mirror is not allowing the light rays to pass through it. Okay. Now for such kind of convex mirror, if we see the light rays which are traveling parallel, if they are traveling parallel to the surface of the mirror, if they are traveling parallel to the plane to the principal axis and hitting the surface of a convex mirror, then right after hitting the surface of a convex mirror, they will appear to diverge from a certain point. They appears to diverge in such a sense like they are coming out of that point. It appears to diverge in such a sense that they are coming out of that point. Then that point is said as the focus for principal focus for that convex mirror, and geometrically it is seen that F point is located in the midway between the center of curvature and the pole. That means here in case of a convex mirror, you see the light rays which are coming parallel to the principal axis right after hitting the surface of a convex mirror, it is diverged in such a sense. That if you see by your naked eyes, you will see something like they are coming out from a certain point source which is present inside the mirror that you cannot touch, but the light rays are coming out from that sense. You will get to see in this manner only. It appears to diverge from such kind of point which is said as the principal focus of the convex mirror. Okay. So in case of a concave mirror, you see the principal focus that is forming, it is in air. That means in the same side where we are using the reflecting plane. So that principal focus you can touch. If you measure, you can touch or you can experience that focus or the center of curvature for concave mirror. But if you want to experience this focus and the center of curvature for convex mirror, that you are really not going to have. Why? Because they are forming virtually, and they are forming inside the mirror. And what is the property that we have checked from such kind of discussion of principal focus? That is that the concave mirror always converges the parallelly coming light rays to a particular point, which is the focus. That means that concave mirror is acting something like a converging mirror. Can we say? Yes, definitely. As we can see that all these light rays coming, right after coming, they are passing through a particular point. That is the focus of the mirror. So we can say that concave mirror have a property to converge all the light rays to a particular point, and that property defines the concave mirror as a converging mirror. But in case of a convex mirror, if we see, they are diverging the light rays, but the diverged light rays appear to come out from a point which we call it as the focus of that mirror. Okay. So such kind of concave convex mirror can be said as diverging mirror. Diverging mirror. So if you maintain the geometries very well, then it is not tough to remember which mirror are said as converging mirror and which mirrors are said as diverging mirror. So the last term that we are having here, left is our focal length. Sorry, this will be focal length. So what is focal length? If we take, this is the concave mirror, this is the concave mirror, and in the above discussion we found that there are certain points like center of curvature, there are certain points like there are certain points like center of curvature, then pole of that mirror, okay, pole of that mirror, then the middle point between this center of curvature and the pole is the focus that we have already got in our discussion above. So the distance between the focus and the pole of the mirror is said as the focal length. The distance fp, is equal to small f that we define, and this is said as the focal length. This is said as the focal length of the mirror. Okay, so the focal length is on the left hand side of the mirror, So this length we call it as focal length, and the total distance, that is cp, we call it as radius of the mirror, that we define it by the term r. And as I have specified earlier, that this focus is a midpoint between center of curvature and the pole. That means focus is just dividing the total radius of curvature into two of its equal parts. So we can say, that fp is also equal to cf, can we say? And fp is equal to f, that means cf is also equal to f. So hence we are going to say that cp, which is equal to r, this cp can be made into cf plus fp. And so what do we have? We have like r, radius of curvature, is equal to cf means f and fp means small f, and thus radius of curvature divided by 2 is our focus. So this is the relation between focal length. This is the relation between radius of curvature and the focal length of a mirror. This is the difference between the radius of curvature and the focal length of a mirror. So how do we got? We have got like c to p distance is the radius and f is the midpoint. So f is dividing the total entire radius into two of its equal parts, and each equal part is said as focal length, which is said by the term small f. So f plus f is giving us radius of curvature. That means definitely f is going to be half of the radius. That means the focal length is always the half of the radius. Either it is for a concave mirror or for the convex mirror also, it will be seen in the same way. For convex mirror, if this is a convex mirror and if this is the reflecting plane, then let us suppose this is the pole and this is the center of curvature, then the midpoint between center of curvature and the pole can be said as the focus. So as per the definition of focal length, the point joining focus and the pole of the mirror, the distance between the focus and the pole of the mirror is said as the focal length. So this distance is going to be the focal length for convex mirror, and the focal length for convex mirror is always virtually formed because it is forming at the back end of the mirror. That's why such kind of focal length is our imaginary focal length, and that such kind of imaginary focal length we call it as virtual focal length. Here also the same thing will be maintained. C to P distance, we call it as R, and the midway is called as F. That means if this is F, if this part is F, then definitely this is also F. So the same equation will be maintained like F plus F is equal to R. Hence F is equal to R by 2. That means the focal length is just the half of radius. So while dealing with these terms, we have already dealt the differences between concave mirror and convex mirror. Concave mirror, for that concave mirror, the center of curvature is real, the focus is real, the concave mirror is bulged inward, the reflecting plane is inward. But for convex mirror, the reflecting plane is bulged outward. The outward surface, bulged outward surface is the reflecting surface for convex mirror. And for concave mirror, the center of curvature and the focus is real, but for convex mirror the focus center of curvature and the focus is virtual, that is in the back end of the mirror it is forming. So next of that we are going to talk about the sign convention. The last point of discussion in this class will be our sign convention. What is this sign convention? Let us check. Sign convention. And why do we read this sign convention? That you will get to know in our next class, that when we will be dealing with the geometries of each type of mirror, either it is a concave mirror or it is a convex mirror. For both the type of mirror, when we will make or when we will form the images, keeping the object in different positions in front of the mirrors, as it is given in your textbook, you can see the figures. So while making these images, it is required to discuss the direction of light rays, because in upper classes you will get to see the notation like vectors. You will get to see in class 11, you will get to see that whenever we are moving in a certain direction, suppose we are moving in a certain direction, then it is taken as positive axis, and if we are moving back to that path, then that distance is taken as the negative displacement or negative distance. The negative approach means the plus minus approach holds here. Wherever motion will be there, then the opposite sign, that means plus, counts for a particular direction, then negative will count for the opposite direction. Such plus minus we need to consider while talking about the geometries of such kind of spherical mirrors. And while talking about the numericals of such kind of mirrors, means if we keep the object in this much far away from, if this much far away from that mirror, then where the image is going to form, such kind of numericals you will get to have, you will definitely have. And to do such kind of numericals, what is required? Sign convention or the knowledge of sign convention is required. And why the sign convention is required? Because all the distances measured from the center of curvature, from the aperture of the mirror in particular directions tells us either it is positive or it is negative, and we do need to take such kind of account to sustain the geometries of both the types of spherical mirrors. So let us check what is sign convention. If we take any kind of mirror, whether this is a concave mirror, whether this is a convex mirror, any kind of mirror you take, no problem at all. How to remember the sign convention, I will be talking. So suppose this first one is the concave mirror, and this is the convex mirror. Any kind of mirror that you take, doesn't matter whether it is concave mirror or convex mirror, it must have a pole. It must have a pole. It must have a pole. So now through the center of curvature for both the mirror, if you draw an imaginary axis, can we compare this axis with the x-axis that we are having? Can we compare this axis with the x-axis that we are having? Definitely, if we can compare, then let us assume this is the x-axis. Instead of calling it as principal axis, let us call it as x-axis. And this pole, let us consider this pole as the origin of our xy Cartesian coordinate system. You know about abscissa and ordinate. X-axis is set as the abscissa and y-axis is set as the ordinate. So in this point which is we call it as pole, if we do just draw two lines, which one is horizontal, which is just horizontal to that of the principal axis, and another is vertical to that of the pole, to the point pole, then definitely we are having such kind of axis pattern that we can see. Here also we can form axis like pattern, and definitely as while doing mathematics geometry, we do define it as positive axis, this side as positive axis and this side as negative axis. That means all the distances measured from the pole of a convex mirror or a concave mirror in the left hand side, all these distances measured in the left hand side of a mirror are taken as negative, and all these distances are measured, in the left hand side of the mirror are taken as negative. All these distances measured in the positive side, that means positive x-axis, are said as the positive distances. The sign convention will be taken. So it is very easy to remember by such kind of similarities between xy Cartesian coordinate system. If we generate it in the point pole, making it just comparing the pole with the origin of the Cartesian coordinate system, then in left hand side if we go, we are going through the negative x-axis. That means when we are going through this negative x-axis, that gives us the negative value. of the distances that are taken. And if we go in the right hand side, in both the cases, then the value is counted as positive. Why? Because we are moving towards the positive x-axis direction, Now all the distances or all the heights of the objects that will be concerned above these principal axis, that means above all these x-axis in all this way, if we measure the distances in this way means above the principal axis, if we measure, then such kind of distance account for positive y-axis, and definitely the distances we need to count it as positive. Here. So there also we need to count it as positive. Why? Because we are counting it in positive y direction. And if we do take any kind of distances in the negative y-axis, then definitely this direction will be taken as the negative one. This will be taken as negative one because we are just moving towards negative y-axis. So what I mean to say is that to read out this sign convention, firstly we need to imagine or we need to assume one thing, that is the light rays traveling and falling to the mirror are always from our left hand to the right hand, of the mirror. Okay, from the left hand to the right hand we need to draw, and for all the distances which are measured in both left hand side and right hand side from the pole are taken as negative and positive. If we measure in the left hand side, then it is negative, and if we measure in the positive side, then it is positive. And if we measure all the distances above the principal axis, then definitely it is moving towards the positive y-axis, then definitely it will give us the positive values of the distances that we measure. And if the distances are taken in the negative direction, that means from the pole we are moving downward, then definitely we are moving through the negative y-axis. That means all the values at that time will be concerned as negative y-axis, negative values. So this all was about sign convention. So in this class what we have covered, again let us recapitulate. We have talked about the spherical mirrors, and the types of spherical mirrors and how the spherical mirrors can be formed practically, and general terms related to the above spherical mirrors that we have already discussed about center of curvature. Then we have discussed about radius of curvature, linear aperture, pole, principal axis, secondary axis, normal, principal focus or focus, and lastly we have defined the pole focal length. Okay, and we have found one relation between the focal length and the radius of curvature, that is r by 2 is equal to f, or we call it as f is equal to r by 2, where f signifies the focal length and r stands for the radius of the curvature. So the sign convention that lastly we have talked about the sign conventions. So this sign convention we will use when we will start doing numericals from the section of mirror. That at that time these sign conventions will be taken in our account, and the light rays direction is always taken from left hand side to the right hand side of us.